just have to give credit to the way Southampton played yesterday, because I thought they were brilliant for pretty much the whole game. They set the tone from the first minute, going straight at us, and we knew that they were going to do that. We knew that in the first few minutes they were going to be all over us. They're going to start fast like they always do. But we just never seemed to get a foothold in the game. I mean, yeah, maybe there was a moment in the beginning of the second half, but ultimately we never really got a foothold in that game. And Southampton really just overran us in many areas of the pitch. Their midfield was a lot stronger than ours. They forced our players into making mistakes. And yes, we weren't good enough, but you've got to give credit to the way Southampton played, because I think personally that's the best team that's come to our stadium this season.
Yeah, they were fantastic. Was it the best team that's come to our stadium this season? I think I've seen... I guess it depends. Under Conte, I would say yeah, but I would say there are teams. I think there are teams who've controlled the game maybe a bit more than Southampton did. I don't think they for large parts they were better than Tottenham, but I would say how I saw the game being at the stadium, they really came out of the blocks firing Southampton for the opening 5-10 minutes, and obviously Hugo made that save from Shea Adams really early on. I think there was another one from a header from Stuart Armstrong quite early on, and looked like they were on top. And then I think Tottenham did grow into the game about 10 minutes in, and we started to press really intensely, started to press a lot higher up the pitch. And we actually started to create some chances. Romero had that header ruled out for offside. Reguilon had that chance, which was a good save from Forster, which he really should have done better with. And then we obviously got the opening goal. We were 1-0 up. And then we thought, okay. And actually, when we got that opening goal, I think that was a consequence of a bit of built momentum. And I actually remember when, on the vlog, like we were saying how that goal we deserved it at the time, because I actually think, I can't remember what minute we scored in. It was like the 18th minute or so. That was actually a consequence of, we actually did build up some momentum leading up to that goal. We were starting to create some chances, and we were playing fairly well. But again, like a bit, we'll talk about the second half in a minute, but as soon as we scored, I don't know what happened, but we just completely took our foot off the gas. We completely ceded control, and pretty much from that minute up until the end of the half, it was all Southampton. Even literally from kickoff, I think, didn't they? From kickoff, after we scored, Broja hit the byline and nearly scored in the near post. I think Lloris had to make it. I think then they scored pretty much soon after that. Davis' mistake. That goal, by the way, I've seen it again just this morning. I'm watching because I didn't get to see the highlights. Oh my God, that goal was just a shit show after shit show. Literally mistake after mistake. I mean, Sanchez does really well to get a tackle in, but then Davis slips, then Sanchez's header isn't far enough away. It falls to Emerson. He lets it run for God knows what reason. He lets it run across his body.
Out of the time, just get the ball away.
Even if you put it out for a corner, just get the danger away.
Just get it away, man.
He lets it run across his body, and then not only does he let it run across his body, he then doesn't stop the cross where he could have easily stopped the cross to go to Broja, and then Broja's completely unmarked. There's 4 men in the box, and Broja is somehow completely unmarked. Maybe that goes down to lack of leadership without Dyer there, and he puts it away. He makes it 1-1.
A clear lack of leadership at the back last night.
Yeah, and as much as I love Romero, and I actually think, for me, as much, I don't think he had his best game, Romero, compared to maybe on Saturday. I still think he was head and shoulders above any other defenders.
Yeah, not saying much.
You can say that, but I still think he was much more aggressive. He was making much more tackles, but him in the centre, with Southampton attacking from all angles, I think he was kind of doing a lot of the defending by himself. But sometimes he needs to. I feel like with Romero, he's a very good defender individually, but whether he has the capabilities right now as a very young 23-year-old to be marshalling everyone and to set the line and make sure everyone's doing their job, or whether he's just concentrating on doing his own job, which I think he's doing very well. But when you're a leader in that centre position, you need to be you can't just concentrate on yourself. You need to be marshalling everyone, and that's what Dyer brings.
Because people forget how young he actually is because of the high level of quality.
Younger than Sanchez, isn't he? Much
exactly.
Younger. Yeah.
Like, people forget how young he is, and he shouldn't be right now just coming into the team the leader of that back line. And that's what Dyer does, and he does it really well, and he's been doing that really well this season. And as much as Romero put in a good performance last night, which I agree with, I believe his passing was a bit off last night, but all in all, his defensive work was good yesterday, how aggressive he was and how much he was winning the ball back. But he can't be that leader in the middle, and you saw there was a massive lack of leadership at the back last night.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I think his passing was a bit off, but I think that was more to do with Southampton's pressing rather than his passing. I think a few moments where he did play it to absolutely no one, but there are a few moments where he did actually play like an accurate pass, but the Tottenham players were just not able to hold off their defenders, and then the pass gets intercepted, and it looks like a bad pass, but it's more to do with Tottenham players not being strong enough, like holding off people coming from behind them. But anyway, look, yeah, pretty much the end of that first half, we were desperate for it to end. It was an onslaught that ended that first half,
10
wasn't
minutes,
it?
I was like literally here on the watch line saying, we need half time.
Desperately.
Need half time.
It was
We need half time.
set piece after set piece to hit the bar. Ward-Prowse was whipping them in. Lloris was flapping.
How many times did Armstrong was just completely free on the edge of the box? I know some of the shots weren't exactly great, but how many times?
I actually
How
think
many times did Armstrong, was he free on the edge of the area just to have a pop shot?
I thought the technique on some of his shooting was really good. It was just a bit off in terms of direction.
Yeah.
A lot of them,
I agree with that,
A lot of them, if they were on target, Lloris could have been struggling.
It's like it followed a theme throughout the game. We weren't closing them down quick enough. They kept having these pop shots from outside the area. And then when push came to shove right at the end, it was the same problems when Ward-Prowse was completely free in the middle of the park. Had the freedom of the pitch just to play any ball he wanted into the area, and there's 2 carbon copy goals in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a sec, but so we go into half time 1-1. Very lucky to be 1-1. Let's be honest, it could have been 2 or 3-1 at half time, considering the chances. And not even to mention there was that Broja miss a 1-on-1 as well, where he got through.
He's a player, man.
But he got through ridiculously. Like they just played a hopeful ball forward. Sanchez is caught sleeping. Broja just nips in. You got to be more aware of who's around. You got to be more aware and more aggressive as well. We're lucky he missed that chance in the at 1-1. So we're very, very lucky at that point to go in at 1-1. Then
the one where he just screwed it wide.
Yeah, he's 1-on-1. Yeah, and I don't know how he gets through, but we start the second half, I think, actually pretty strongly. I think we get control back of the game. I felt in the second half. I think for the first 10 minutes or so, it was very even. We had a bit more control in the game. But then once Bentancur came on, I thought he came over Højbjerg, who I thought had a horrendous game. Absolutely, I've never seen him play so badly. But he came on.
He was so erratic, Højbjerg. I mean, every time he got the ball, there was no composure. I mean, first time he would just like pass it anywhere on the pitch. And I remember there was this one moment when Højbjerg, he gets on the ball, completely free, no one's pressuring him whatsoever, and he just passes it out of play or passes it into completely no one. I mean, he was panicking time and time again on that pitch yesterday, and his midfield partner in Winks, I think Højbjerg was worse than Winks yesterday, but Winks was not that much better, was he? I mean, he as well was a bit of a headless chicken.
I thought Winks was better on the ball than Højbjerg. Højbjerg was better off the ball than Winks, but as in Winks off the ball, I thought was terrible. I thought he couldn't get near anyone. I thought Ward-Prowse or Romeo were running things, and I thought Højbjerg on the ball was so panicked. He was. I've never seen him. I've seen him give the ball away a lot, but I've never seen him give the ball away as much as he did yesterday. I know he did get an assist for the goal. Fair play. It was a decent ball, but apart from that one moment, he was absolutely shocking. But I also did feel like when he went off. Obviously, he went off deservedly, but we maybe could have used him in those last 20 minutes because they were just running things for those 2 goals. We couldn't get near them. It was really frustrating. But
as much as Højbjerg was terrible on the ball, I agree with you. I would have taken off Winks because when you go 2-1 up and you're going into the last 20 minutes...
Winks couldn't get near anyone,
Exactly. Yeah. You'd need that presence of Højbjerg off the ball. As much as how terrible he was on the ball, fine, fair enough, and I completely grant that. But I felt like Winks... When you go 2-1 up, you need that off-the-ball presence in the middle of the park, and we didn't have that, and we got completely cut open, pretty much.
But then, Bentancur comes on, and within 30 seconds, he does a pirouette. He plays a beautiful through ball to Lucas. He's just right. And all of a sudden, you're thinking, where has this composure been in this whole? Not only just composure, but quality. The weight of pass he played for that Lucas pass, and with his first pass of the game,
notch, mate.
was unbelievable. I've never seen even Winks, who I consider a good passer, was not capable of that kind of pass. A driven, beautifully weighted pass into the feet of Lucas Moura. It was absolutely sensational, and he brought a calmness, a composure, and not just that, it was quality, it was decision making, it was passing it into space, the right pass at the right time, not panicking. He seemed like a seasoned professional who played at a top team for many years, coming into the midfield, and he showed exactly what he was about when coming on. And I thought it was a very even game before that second up before he came on, and then once he came on, the momentum completely swung in our favour. I think we were very much on top of them. I thought the Reguilon set up that chance for Kane, which he should have buried. There was another one actually, which was really frustrating. Reguilon was on the left-hand side, and he had like 3 or 4 open men in the centre for a good chance, like really great opening, and he missed all of them. He played it behind everyone, and the chance was gone. Obviously, we got the goal in the end, which you could argue maybe could have been a foul, but we did get that goal. And I think once we went 2-1 up, I think that was deserved when we're in that moment, because I think we were on top. I think we were actually penning them in quite a lot, and it would look like it was a matter of time before we were going to score. Actually, I think with the fact we were actually attacking really well. Southampton were really struggling to get out. We were being really intense, and we were penning them in. And then we went 2-1 up. And then there was a very long break for the injury, wasn't there? After the goal, it was like a 3-4 minute break, and maybe that allowed Southampton. I think actually that really helped Southampton, because you saw during that break, Hasenhüttl had a good 2-3 minutes talking to his players, didn't he? Everyone was huddled around Hasenhüttl. I think Tottenham were just like we're just continuing what we were doing. We were just waiting by the centre circle in our position, ready for the game to restart. While Southampton had a bit of a reset under Hasenhüttl. He was giving them all this, okay, this is what we need to do, this is what's going wrong. Maybe that break helped them re-establish themselves in the game, because as soon as play restarted, it was back to the first half, what was happening. We were sitting back. Maybe we felt like we had to sit back to contain Southampton, to try and see out the game, but we dropped way too deep, I felt. And that was a consequence of us conceding those two goals in 2 minutes with 10 minutes to go.
It reminded me yesterday a lot of a Jose Mourinho Spurs, to be honest. I think, every time we scored, when we scored that first goal, when we scored that second goal, immediately after, for some reason, we would just completely sit back and invite the pressure onto us both times. And that's exactly, what we used to lay into Jose Mourinho for doing. And I don't think it was under instruction or anything like that from Conte. But what I do believe it's that when a team presses us, and when a team overloads us, and when a team really puts us under the cosh, that's what they do. They revert to type, and they literally push back and back and back until we're under too much pressure, and we ultimately concede the goal. And I don't know what it is with this Spurs team, but when they're lacking in confidence, when they're under the cosh, they just go deeper and deeper and deeper until we ultimately concede or lose the game.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I think Conte mentioned that in his press conference about how his team, they need to be braver. Not just on the ball, but off the ball. And what he means by being braver off the ball is when you have teams pressing you and they're coming forward, you have to be brave enough to actually step up and not just run back the other way and drop deep in your defensive line, but actually hold your position, hold your defensive line as high as possible, and actually press them high up the pitch, even in their own half or in the middle third. And that's what he means by being brave. And I don't think we were brave off the ball yesterday, especially in late in the game for those last 10 minutes or so. You can see just when Ward-Prowse is crossing the ball how deep our defensive line is. And that's what he means by not being brave off the ball. We didn't step up what we needed to. We were too worried about them getting too close to our goal that we dropped all the way back. Whereas what we should be doing is holding our line, making sure we don't drop too deep, and making sure it's as difficult as possible for Southampton to pump balls into our box and them to be close to goal. And look how close they are to goal when they get their headers. That's because our defensive line is so deep. But also, if you look at the first of all, the equaliser, Bentancur has Ward-Prowse. As much as I think Bentancur was great, he had Ward-Prowse, but maybe this is what Conte was talking about. Instead of holding high with Ward-Prowse and sticking that position, making sure that he's close to him and high up the pitch, he drops onto the edge of the box to mark no one. And maybe he's too worried about a ball coming into the box in that way and blocking across or something. But that allowed Ward-Prowse all the time in the world to line up his obviously he took it first time, to be fair, but he had the space to line up that cross, great ball in, and the defending inside the box was absolutely shocking from Sanchez, from also got to say from Romero, who wasn't aware as well, and especially from Emerson, who his positioning was terrible.
Emerson was shocking throughout the whole game. I mean, he was a disaster class, and I'd put 4 players in that category. I'd put Emerson, Sanchez, Winks and Højbjerg. I thought all 4 of them were absolutely disgraceful last night. And how can you give Ward-Prowse so much room? Once is like a crime. To do it again a few minutes later, how does that happen? How do they give him so much space? You know the quality the guy has. And it's funny that if you have someone in the middle of the park with that much quality, how do you give him so much space?
And that's what I've been crying out for in terms of what I thought Tottenham need is when I say a player with real quality on the ball.
Bentancur, like he's got that.
No, he's got quality on the ball, but he doesn't have quality. Well, he might do, or we haven't seen it in terms of real quality, like Ward-Prowse or Ruben Neves or someone, or Jorginho, someone of that ilk who can, like for example, in that half space where Ward-Prowse is. 9 times out of 10, or very often you can expect him to deliver something like that. Does Bentancur have that in his locker to do what Ward-Prowse did yesterday? I don't know. I mean, he might do, but at Juventus, he wasn't that kind of player. We haven't kind of seen that yet from him. Obviously, he's very young. He can still develop. He can still improve, and maybe he does have that. But when I talk about a player with real quality on the ball that Tottenham need, we need Ward-Prowse is someone who's a perfect example of that. Someone who has proper ability to affect the final third on the ball and who's not a liability off the ball either. He's such a hard worker. He makes loads of tackles. He's running all day for 90 minutes, Ward-Prowse. And he's a real quality player. And he's someone, obviously, he's been linked to Tottenham in the past, but whether he's gettable or not, he would be perfect for us, actually. I think Conte would love him.
He would be absolutely perfect. But, everyone knows about Ward-Prowse. He's a complete dead ball specialist. But I've actually never, maybe I haven't watched him enough, but maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen him in open play put such quality balls into the area, into the mixer before. I've always seen like the set pieces, obviously.
I think if you have it from set pieces, you can have it from open play.
Yeah, of course.
And I think Ward-Prowse, I've always liked him.
What I'm saying is teams are always savvy when Ward-Prowse are playing. They know what danger he can bring. So you bloody close him down as soon as you can. You don't give him that space. Don't give him that space.
Yeah, 100%. And we did that, unfortunately. But Ward-Prowse probably had his best game of the season yesterday. No doubt about that. Apparently he's only once in his other career had 2 assists in a game. So that shows how often he does it. But he definitely has that in his locker. We know that. And look, this guy's been called up for England many times. You don't do that just because you're a good set-piece taker. You have to be a good footballer as well. And I think he's proven that now. He's at a very good age. And the problem is, I think at the beginning of last season, he signed a 5-year deal. So probably has 3 years left on that at the end of this season. Like, not only that, he's Southampton's captain and he's their talisman. He came through their youth, didn't he? So he's a bit like Harry Kane for Tottenham or Declan Rice for West Ham. He's worth a lot more to Southampton than maybe his quality is, as much as his quality is very high. But you're going to have to overpay to get him. And whether we're prepared to do that, I don't know. But he's definitely someone who I'd love at Tottenham. I think he's a great player, and he's proven now at Southampton that he's not just a set-piece taker, but he's an all-round very good midfielder now. And I think he ran the show yesterday, especially in the late in the game. But to be fair to Tottenham, I think obviously we conceded 2 goals, but I did think in stoppage time we penned them in quite well. And we were looking dangerous. We obviously didn't test Forster enough, but we did pen. I thought it was actually quite good how we penned them in, and we were pumping balls in the box. And we were looking like we might get something. And obviously Romero combined with Bergwijn to score, which was unfortunately ruled offside. And then as soon as that goal went in, as soon as it was ruled out, everything dropped, and it was like we needed that to go for us. And as soon as it went against us, it was pretty much over. I knew it because everyone dropped. I think if that goal, if it was onside, I reckon we could have even had more momentum in our favour, and we could have done another Leicester. I really believe that because I think we had them penned in, and the momentum was with us. But as soon as that went against us, you saw the body language. Everyone dropped, and that was pretty much it. We weren't going to get another chance after that. And that was it. And look, and Southampton deserved it.
We were having a lot of debate. Well, some people having a lot of debate on the fan show last night regarding what actually went on that football pitch yesterday. Was it players not putting their shift in, or was it maybe Conte got it a bit wrong tactically? Because I thought Hasenhüttl completely outdid Conte tactically yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was more to do with Southampton playing well than us playing badly as to why we lost the game. But we did play badly. But in some, I think we had a level of performance where, for example, if we were playing a lesser team or a team not playing as well, we could have got away with it. We could have won the game, maybe a 2-1, like we could have done with 20 minutes to go. If we were playing a team who weren't playing as well as Southampton, we might have been able to get away with the level of performance we got yesterday. But because Southampton were playing such a top level, they punished us tenfold for how bad we were. I think we were sloppy. I think in possession, a lot of the time we did seem a bit clueless. I think, I mentioned in the preview that in the first game, Conte very, very purposefully put us 3-5-2 as opposed to 3-4-3 in the game at St Mary's early in the season, even though we had players available for a 3-4-3. So that made me think that Conte thinks this is the best formation to play against Southampton. But I think maybe in this game he just didn't want to start Bentancur for whatever reason or not. Maybe his new signing is too soon or whatever. He didn't want to start him, so he went with 3-4-3. But I did think in the centre mid they completely dominated us. They completely overran us. We weren't able to build up any sort of play except for on counter attacks in that 3-4-3. Apart from maybe that period in the second half where we did keep possession pretty well, but again that was more using the wing backs than it was down the centre. That was more, we were getting a lot of joy down the left with Reguilon than anything else in that period before Bentancur came on anyway. So I think Conte maybe has to take some blame. I also think the level of performance Højbjerg had, he can't account for that. That was just way below anything we can expect from him. I think the level of performance from Emerson, Sanchez, and to an extent Lucas, for large parts, apart from obviously he got a good assist. He was involved in both goals. 2 assists. He was involved in both goals, to be fair to him, but I actually think he was pretty poor in general, Lucas, yesterday. I think that those level of performance, the players have got to take responsibility. But I think tactically, I think Hasenhüttl can definitely claim a tactical victory yesterday with how he was so intense in the central areas, dominating us and overwhelming us in attacking areas as well. And we didn't really have a response to it apart from playing long balls into the attacking players. And on the few times we made it stick, that was the only times we were able to go forward.
And finally, top 4 now. It just follows a consistent theme over the last couple of years. When everyone around us drop points, we also drop points. And it's just so frustrating because you look at our fixture list and you earmark this game as probably the easiest one over the next few weeks. When you got this weekend, we've got Wolves at home, which is going to be harder. You've got Man City away following that, Burnley away and Leeds away. All the away games are going to be very difficult, as every away game is, and Wolves at home, which is going to be a very difficult game too. So it's just difficult, isn't it? I mean, it still is in our hands, but we're still a long, long way to go, and it just follows a consistent theme, doesn't it?
Look, I think there's many, many, many twists and turns left in this race. I think look, it's a damaging defeat. I think the most damaging thing about this result is it's a home game against a bottom half side, and to lose that is really a massive, massive blow. But I think we're going to pick up points you don't expect us to pick up. We're going to lose games you don't expect us to lose. I think that's going to happen with Arsenal. It's going to happen with Man United. It's going to happen with West Ham. It's going to happen with everyone. So we've just got to make sure we're as consistent as possible from now to the end of the season with the games that we should be winning if we're going to snatch that top 4 race. The team with the most consistency is going to do it. And I think at the moment we were pretty consistent, but this result was completely against that, and maybe I'm hoping it's not the start of more inconsistency creepy into our game now, Conte, because I think since Conte's come in, especially at home anyway, we've been very consistent against these bottom half teams. We've won games pretty convincingly, and we've been pretty solid. But this game was definitely worrying. Whether you can take that into a trend in the future, we'll see. Look, we could come out against Wolves, and different teams provide different.
Wolves always give us a torrid time, don't they?
But I think the different teams provide different challenges, and Wolves are not going to be as attacking as Southampton were, but they might be. We might concede less chances against Wolves, but we might also create less chances against Wolves because they're very, very good defensively. To be honest, against Wolves early in the season, we did struggle badly, but that was a lot to do with Adama Traore completely rinsing us down the left-hand side. Without him there, will we find it much easier to contain Wolves than we did early in the season? But then again, they're a lot stronger defensively than they were early in the season now. So will we be able to have that ability to create chances against Wolves that we did against Southampton? It's going to be a different kind of game. So it'll be interesting to see how we come up against them. Obviously, Man City's Man City, and then Burnley just got a draw against Burnley just drew against Man United at home. So they show that they're desperate for points. And Leeds away, they're starting to play a lot better than they were early in the season. So every game's difficult, but just because we lost against Southampton doesn't mean any of these games are write-offs at all. We can still very much go into these games confident of getting a result for sure. But we just got to be wary of where our deficiencies are. And Conte has got to make sure that he's learning as much about his squad as possible. And maybe, you got to remember Bentancur and Kulu still haven't started a game for us. Maybe Bentancur coming into the team will improve us. I know Kulu didn't kind of impact the game as much as I'd like him yesterday, but especially Bentancur, maybe with him starting games, maybe that can change things a bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think so, but now we're 2 losses in a row now in the league. Yeah, I know the last one was to Chelsea and everyone was expecting it, but no one expected this result yesterday. Everyone on the pre-match pump-up, everyone coming on the day before the game was so confident, us included, that we were going to go and put on a really good performance and back up that Brighton performance with a win at Southampton. And now these next 2 games, Wolves at home and Man City away, are massive, especially with the games that Arsenal next week. They've got a free week because they're not playing against Chelsea, so they're going to have a game in hand on us. So all of a sudden, we could be looking at having games in hand on Arsenal to go above them. Now we're level on games with them. I know they got a hard game tonight, but in a few weeks, the table could look very different in terms of the games in hand on Arsenal and Man United.
Yeah, it could, but it's all about just the next game. That's where you got to concentrate. There's no point looking further and further ahead because you get lost in it all because you start worrying about what other teams are going to pick up points, where that you can predict all you want, how many games you think Arsenal are going to win or United are going to win. But at the end of the day, you predict United to beat Burnley and they draw. You predict Arsenal to beat Burnley at home and they get a draw. It's so hard to know. You just got to concentrate on yourselves and making sure you get the results possible. And just because we lost on yesterday. And you got to say we lost in a game which was a very much a below par performance from Tottenham and very much a way above par performance for Southampton, and yet Reguilon and Kane missed 2 massive chances. We had a goal ruled out in stoppage time for offside. We still created a lot of chances, and the first goal was all because of a very, very unlucky slip from Ben Davies that caused that first goal to go in. So this is in one of our worst games. So, and these things still happen. So I'm still confident against Wolves we can go into that game. Maybe, not necessarily, we're definitely going to win, but I'm still have us to say we can definitely go into that game saying there's no reason why we can't go into that confident of getting 3 points. Yeah,
we need to dust ourselves off and pick ourselves up again and going into this game of the weekend believing we can win. That's definitely true. And, I kind of agree with that because a lot of people were very, very angry, upset, emotional on the fan show last night. But I really resonated with the call we had at the end with David Harris, which was a lot more positive about that. Because when you look at it, right, we're still well in the mix. So there's no point writing off our chances like a lot of people did coming on the fan show yesterday when there's a whole half a season to play. Man United not looking like they won it. Arsenal don't look like they won it. And yeah, fine, we don't look like we won it in the last couple of games either, but these are the three teams that are fighting for it. And maybe you can even include Wolves in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, if they win, even if they win tonight, mate.
Exactly. If they win tonight, they're above us.
They're above us. Don't they go into? Do they go top four? No.
No, they don't go into the top four, but they go a point above us. So there is a lot of teams in the mix, and like you said before, whoever is the most consistent will get it. And when you look at since Conte has come to Spurs, Spurs have been the most consistent out of all those teams.
And also, and first of all that, and also we have potential, like United and Arsenal have to go with what they have and what they've had for the whole season, for the rest of the season. So they don't have that opportunity to maybe bring in new blood and bring in new energy that could maybe ignite something. Whereas we do. We have Bentancur and Kulu who have new signings, and they have that ability to maybe, if things aren't working out, well, Lucas continues his bad form and stuff like that, and Højbjerg and Winks are not up to it. Like, we have that ability to bring in a Bentancur or Kulu who could really ignite something potentially and go on a good, maybe go on a good run and spark something in the team, a bit of new energy. Whereas if Lacazette's not working for Arsenal, they don't have anyone to bring in. You know what I mean?
Nketiah, don't worry about that.
Like, they don't have that new energy. So that's also something that could potentially work in our favour. But we have to sort out this back line, especially against good attacking teams, because
we have to get back to winning ways this weekend.
It was all over the place. It'll be interesting to see what happens down the line with Emerson, because that was a very worrying performance yesterday. But it was really annoying because it was off the back of a decent game against Brighton. But yesterday, it was terrible.
Yeah. All right, so that is our match review. Obviously, we lost 3-2 to Southampton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last night.